Bună ziua, sunt Bogdan Alecu și bine ați venit la o nouă emisiune Viitor Fabricat la Mioveni. Discutăm în continuare despre servicii de finanțare, în continuarea subiectelor din săptămânile trecute. Am văzut cum mașina este proiectată, desenată, testată, comercializată, iar acum finanțată. Este ultima etapă când vine vorba de comercializarea unui automobil, de această dată atât Dacia cât și Renault. Îl avem invitat astăzi alături de noi pe Jose-Luis Aguirre, Managing Director, Mobilize Financial Services. Hello, Jose. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Bogdan. Hello, Bogdan. How are you?
Excellent. Jose, tell me a bit, since when are you Managing Director for Mobilize in Romania?
I came to Romania in January, so it's been 1 year, but I work for Mobilize for the last 20 years in different countries, countries far away like Sweden, Denmark, but also Adriatics, Spain, France, UK, but brand new in Romania, well, almost 1 year, but yeah, I'm very happy to be here.
How did this market evolve in such a period like 20 years? You must have seen the beginning and all the transformation that came up.
Well, at the end, finance, it's not rocket science. You have different products, which start from the more traditional, let's say, which is credit. You buy a car, you finance for a duration up to, I don't know, 5-6 years. And then at the end, you have the car and you own the car. Then there is financial leasing. Well, basically, you don't own the car at the beginning, but normally, I say normally because it's not always, but you tend to buy the car at the end of the contract with a residual value that could be low, could be high, and you pay it. Then you go to renting, which is a different product where you don't own the car, and then you just give the car back and maybe you take another one. And then there is more advanced kind of subscription model that in the US is trying to increase. But I would say it depends a lot in the market. If you go to northern countries, like for instance Sweden, for private individuals, almost 95% of the sales are financed with private lease, which is renting for private. If you go to Southwest Europe, where I'm from, Spain, we were very traditional. Credit basically dominating the background, but then it's switching step by step. And Romania, I think that it's quite similar to Spain, where we are, or you are a country where you like to have the ownership of the car. You also want to keep the car for quite a long period. I don't know if it's 8-9+ years. But you're moving, and we are proof also that we are making this happen, and we are switching maybe to more kind of flex product, financial lease, and so on. But still to go. Then, of course, one thing that has happened in the last 5 years is that if you go to 2020, finance was cheap. Whether you say euro or whether you finance in ROM, I put you some figures. Euribor 5 years ago was negative. Euribor is the basis, and then when you ask for money, you have some kind of Euribor plus, okay, depending on the banks. But the base rate was negative, was -0.4. ROBOR was 2%. 5 years later, Euribor was between 3 and 2 this year, and ROBOR now is at 7, between 7 and 7.5. So you see that finance is more expensive than it was 5 years ago. So it's a challenging time for finance in the markets, but we're here to support, and we have some actions coming.
And how do you see the future and the evolution of this market?
Okay, so in Mobilize, we have had an evolution. So I told you the different offers that we have, and we started with credit. It's available. The next step was to build a credit a bit more full of, let's say, with extended warranty, with maintenance, with roadside assistance, and what we call the box package. This offer was launched, I think, in 2019, so it's not so far away. And this represents already today, let's say, most of the production. And it's good offer for the customer because as a package, you will get a better rate if you have all-inclusive, that if you buy first the insurance, first the finance, etc. Then 2020, we launched, and I think we were pioneer in the market for loan financing, what we call Flex. Okay, I would like to stop 2 minutes on this product because it's represented today 20%, and I think it's very important that people understand what we're talking about. Flex for private individuals basically is a financial lease. So the customer puts a down payment. Okay, normally it could be around 20%. Then you don't have the ownership of the car during the contract, and at the end you have a residual value. Okay, at the end of the contract, with the residual value, the customer have different options. Okay, if he wants to stay with the car, they can pay the residual value and they get the ownership of the car. Okay, then they can resell the car and make profit or loss in the residual value. But if they want to keep the car, but they don't want they don't have the money to pay the residual value, they can refinance that residual value in, let's say, 2 years with a credit. So you extend the credit and you get the ownership of the car. And the last option is, okay, I want to change the car or I want to renew. You give the car back to the dealer and then you can change the car without paying the residual value. So basically, this is a situation, it's an offer where I understand, like in Spain, we want to have ownership and people can think that this is not a product, but you see the options at the end. It's the customer who decides, and if he wants to stay with the car or keep the car and get the ownership, he will get it. This is a very nice offer. Why? Because you have a residual value, and I think we will talk later about this. We promote the monthly payment because the monthly payment, the payment that the customer really is paying, it's lower than a credit because basically you pay only for the depreciation of the car. So this is what we're trying to sell. And this offer is quite new, 2020. It has grown in the mix of our production, but I think still place to grow. And what we don't have yet for private individuals is what we call private leasing, which is renting to private individuals. What is the difference with the leasing? On private leasing, normally, the customer doesn't put a down payment. So you don't need to put 10% on 20%. You put 0, you just rent a car. You pay a rental that normally includes services, maintenance, because you want to have a peace of mind, you don't want to have deviation on your spendings, okay? So you have these kinds of products. And then at the end, here, with difference from the flex, you give the car back and you change for another car. This is what we call private lease. That's what I was saying, that in Sweden, it's 95% of the production. I tried this, for example, in other countries in Adriatics, it didn't work. So I think the future might go that way, but maybe not. I mean, evolutions come with time. And now we are working on the options that we have, the 3 products that we have. And I think the mix can vary, maybe more into this kind of flex product. And then in the future, yes, for sure, maybe private leasing or subscription. So this, I think, will be a bit the forecasted evolution.
Does it have to do with also with age? Maybe the young people would like this leasing, and maybe the older generation would want to own the car?
This is exactly what I thought. This is exactly what some service, not in Romania, I've done this kind of analysis in other countries, and you ask the customers, and then you analyze by age, etc. Maybe rural areas will be more into credit, urban areas will be more into these kind of products. But at the end, I think it's a global mentality, yes. It could be that younger people doesn't need a car as an emotional purchase, and they just need mobility, okay, because they need to go to work and they don't care if it's what kind of car, they just need a solution. Then in those cases, this will happen. But today, I think still buying a car is an emotional purchase, and still not at that level. But we'll see in the future. And
what about special packages for electric vehicles?
Well, for today, the offers that we offer for electric vehicles, in terms of what the offer consists, if it's credit, is the same as we do for ICE vehicles. What we do is that we have better rates for electric vehicles. For example, for Xpring, we have very good rates. So we want to promote the financial and the sale of electric vehicles for sure. But the offers remain, the structure of the offer remains the same.
Because when it comes to electric vehicles, also customers and even operational leasing companies, I saw that they're a bit scared about residual value.
Yes. you know, residual value in general is a science. It's very difficult. The concept is very easy. The residual value is what will be the value of the car
At the end.
At the end of a period. Okay? The period could be the end of the contract. And there are companies, independent companies like Autotax, that are doing the different estimations. And there are a lot of things that influence the value of the residual value. If there will be, between now and the end of the contract, will there be a new model coming from that specific model? There will be a new version. What will be the usage of the car? What will do the brand image? What will be the used car market, etc. So it's already a complicated estimation, but for EV is even more complicated because, for sure, EV will be the future. That's sure. What it's more a question mark is when will that happen, and it will depend on a lot of things. You know, European Union with the regulation of the CO2 emissions. What will each country when it comes to the subvention of the help for the customers to be able to buy EV? How the infrastructure of the country will evolve for a customer to be able to drive long distance with an EV, the battery charging, etc. So this is why I think maybe some companies are being a bit prudent in the calculation of the residual value of electric vehicles. Why is this impacting the offer? I will come back to the explanation I did about the flexi, which is I recall the offer where there is a residual value at the end. It's very important because if you have a high residual value, okay, let's say you buy a car, you pay 10,000 and you finance for 5 years and there is a residual value, let's say 50%, 5,000. Well, during these 5 years, the customer will only need to pay back 10 minus 5, 5,000 euros in 5 years. So the monthly payment will be low. If the residual value will be 60, he will just need to repay 4,000. So the monthly payment will go down. On the other hand, this is competitiveness. But if you put a very high residual value and then when the car is back after 5 years, you need to resell it. And maybe you cannot resell it at the price that you expected and then you generate a loss. So there has to be a balance between competitiveness of the offer and risk. Ideally is no risk, no gain, not loss, and as competitive as we can. And this is where electric vehicles today, there are some uncertainties, but it will happen. This is why the residual value is important for the electric cars.
Yeah, in my opinion, it's extremely interesting, this part, because I've so many Dacia Springs being sold even after, I don't know, 3-4 years with 8,000, 9,000, 10,000 euros. That was pretty interesting because that was the price they bought it with at the beginning in 2021.
Well, let's say that Dacia is the main brand in Romania. You have cars that are reliable, you have low maintenance cost, you have a brand image which is very strong, and there is a used car market that is also very strong for Dacia. This is why the residual values for Dacia are very high. Inflation is here, so prices has gone up, and this has happened in all the countries. I don't know exactly the example of exactly the same residual value, but it's true that Dacia is behaving very good in residual value management, in the remarketing of the cars, and this is helping. And this is why it's very helpful for the customer to understand this principle that I explained on this flex offer, because we are able with Dacia cars to have a very good competitive monthly payment. Mm-hmm. Part of it because the residual values of Dacia are quite high. So. Mm-hmm. And it's a benefit for the customers. So this is, this is happening.
What about new offers in 2026?
Okay, 2026, it's a year with some kind of uncertainty. The market context is difficult. As I said at the beginning, the interest rates still high, let's be honest. Yeah. So we need to find a way to help and to support the brands. I would like to give a few examples of what we're going to do in MFS. I will start with private individuals. We want to start strong the year. We want to For instance, for Renault brand, we're gonna promote for all range what we call deposit contribution. What is deposit contribution? Today you have a discount on the price, okay? And for those customers that will decide to finance with MFS, there will be an additional discount. This additional discount will be substantial. We will go from 1,000 up to 1,800 euros on the top of the normal discount. We want to do that to help also the situation, because Rabla is, we don't know what's going to happen, so we want to support the customer through finance, and we will increase the what we say deposit contribution. So this will be available from January to March. For Dacia, for instance, we're launching a 0% offer for Peugeot, so for small fleet customers, for all range. When I say 0%, because I read a lot in the media when there is a 0% offer. I want to say the 0% offer for Dacia for Peugeot, for a small fleet, will be available for customers as low as 25% deposit, meaning it's normal deposit. Today we do our calculation and we have customers that are able to put a deposit of 20-25%. So from 25%, you will be able to have 0% on interest rate up to 5 years. So this is a really strong offer, and we want to support also the fleet offers with Dacia. This offer will also be available for Renault for LCVs. So all the vans, so Traffic, Master, etc., will also be available at 0% also from January. So we want to support, because we know that the situation it's so complex. The rate is high. It's difficult to go to a 0% on private individuals because we are based on RON financing, which is based on ROBOR. I told you the ROBOR today is 7 point something, so this is the cost of the money. Whether in fleet, it's more in Euribor, it's in euros. So, but we also promote, we will have a 0% for Dacia for promo offer. So we want to start the year helping the brands and supporting the brands, and these offers are really, I would say, the best offers MFS has had in the last years. So now I expect that this is bringing sales and customer finance, for sure.
What about the relationship between the company, Mobilize, and the network, the dealer network? Because all these offers must reach the client.
Okay, so this is key. I mean, who is Mobilize? Mobilize is a captive finance, meaning that we are the finance captive for Renault and Dacia. Our main objective is not to do finance, is to help Renault and Dacia sell cars. The dealers that we are working with are Renault and Dacia dealers. So we are part of the same game. We want to promote, we want to help our brands to succeed. This is the starting point. And then, of course, if it could be through a finance contract, for sure. So the relation with the dealer is key. We are organized, so we have some zone managers of MFS that has a dedicated area with a few dealers in each area where they visit constantly. Their main job, or I would say task, is to explain the offers, because, as you say, the offers needs to be explained. It's not easy. I try to explain here, but I'm sure people still things to be understood, and the dealers need to understand. A sales advisor in the dealer network, in the agent, needs to understand the offer before selling or explaining the offer to the customer. Because, as I said, we have many offers, and all the offers are not maybe suitable for all the customers. And maybe you need to understand the needs of a customer, where you can say, oh, this customer, the credit is more suitable for him, or this customer maybe will be more interested doing on a financial lease with balloon, or this customer want to have peaceful and peace of mind, and they want to have a box offer with all the services included. So it's really important. So we really work with them very close. I've been here, I told you, 11 months. I visited almost all the dealers. I've tried to go to the different regions. We have dedicated meetings with them, physical meetings with the dealers. They have the most preciable feedback from the customer, because I cannot We can do surveys, but the surveys, we talk about the beginning about service. The dealers, the salesperson in contact with the customers have a precious feedback for us, which is the feedback. And it's very important to receive that feedback, to work on what we need to do, what are the needs, etc. Of course, in a strategy. So the dealers is super important. And another key role of the dealers, and I think that this is something we want to work a bit more maybe in 2026, is all this CRM process or CRM management of the customer. We have customers that are very loyal. The dealers are very loyal also. We need to optimize when we create a lead or when we have a customer that has gone to a digital platform, do some calculation, or we know that this customer is reaching the end of this flex product where they need to take a decision. Then we need to all work on a process to be able to secure the customer journey for them to buy a new Renault, a new Dacia, and ideally with a new MFS contract. So this is also something that we need to work with the dealers. So for me, the dealers are key. I have to say that we work very well with them, very well. And as I said, I visit almost all of them. So and the zone manager are present, and this is the daily job. So yeah.
Can you also access these services online? Because you also have a platform called finanțarea.dacia.ro.
Okay, on digital, there are, if you let me, there are two things that I want to differentiate. One thing is a digitalized process, meaning when you go to buy a car and ask for finance, it's super important that the process is as smooth as possible. And when I came to Romania to the subsidiary, this was done before I arrived. This was launched in 2023. The subsidiary in Romania, MFS Romania, has a completely paperless process. So when a customer goes into the dealer network and asks for finance, all the process from paper, from digital signature, from creation of the contract, everything is digitalized. And this is something that has a super high added value, and the job done has been great, I have to say. And this is generating. I said, buying a car is emotional. It's like buying a house. I've been in some processes of mortgage, not in Romania, but it's it creates anxiety when you want to buy a car or want to buy a house, and you don't know if the bank will allow you to have a credit or a mortgage. And the process is so we need to be empathic. And this automatized process gives us the chance or the capacity to answer the customer super quick. I'm going to give you some figures. For private individuals, this year we have reached 89% of the customers have had an answer on the finance in less than 30 minutes.
Okay.
For fleet, Peugeot, we have had 80% of the fleet customers had an answer in 8 hours. And this is only because we have automatized process, the capacity to do the acceptance also online, to have the paperwork, etc. It's a secure process because everything is digitalized, the signatures are certified, we don't have any problems on compliance. So it's generating security, seamless journey for the customer, quick answer, and this is very important. So on this side, I want to say that I'm convinced that we are having an added value when it comes to this process. And then there is the sale of the car will be fully online, including finance. Okay. Well, this topic has been discussed already for 20 years in the market. For sure, it will be the future. But again, buying a car still emotional. You can have some steps in the process that you want to do it online. You go and say, oh, I like this car, let's do this color, you put this wheels or whatever, you configure it, you see the price. Oh, and on finance, let's do some simulator. How much will that cost per month? What can I do? We are there, for sure. But at the end, the customer, in let's say 80-90%, wants to go to the dealer, wants to see the car, wants to feel the car, wants to test the car, and wants to finish the contract in the car, in the dealer. So for the moment, I said that it's a big priority to have digitalized process, automatization, quickness, security. That process we have, and we have to have also the capacity to configure the car, to do some simulator on the finance. But today, still, it's emotional. When we will go to this kind of subscription and, okay, I need mobility, I need some mobility for me to drive 5 days per week, etc. That, in that moment, of course, everything has to be, the full sales process or subscription process has to be fully online. So this is a bit where we're going, but today still, I think, emotional purchase with a dealer visit and finishing the sale and the contract in the dealer.
Maybe having, or is this do you differentiate on private individuals and companies? I mean, maybe for companies it's easier to go online and do it because there's no emotion there. You just need a vehicle. But besides this, for private individuals, buying a car or leasing it, it's one of the big events in their lives.
Yes, for sure. Big accounts that buys a lot of cars. Of course, this will have a different process, and normally these are sales that doesn't go through the dealer network, but the process is completely different. Normally, MEFES is not included in that process, so it's managed directly. And there are some, let's say, customization of the cars that might need to happen. So it's a different process because imagine you have a big company for a logistic purpose. You might need to customize the car. So it's not that you need to fill the car, but you need a car to be able to transform it in a way that allows you to do your business. So it's a different process. But as you say, for small companies, for private individuals, and companies, bakeries, or even companies where the sale is done through the dealers, we still remain in this process, which at the end, it's an emotional process.
And what's the future in terms of this? How do you see it evolve?
In the next, let's say, 3-5 years, I don't see major changes. Maybe I'm wrong. I think that it's been proven that things that changes, it takes time. I think that on the offers, as I said, we can have a switch a bit more into this kind of flex product with residual value. Operational lease for private, I think, is still very early in the next 3-5 years, but it will come. On digitalization, as I said, today we are already fully digitalized. We need to keep doing the best we can on this side. And then when it comes to digital sales online, we need to wait until this kind of subscription model or private leasing will come. But I think it could switch a bit the mix, but I think in the next 3-5 years, there will not be so dramatic changes in the auto finance business.
We've seen now that we have Dacia models like the Bigster that the client pays more than 30,000 euros for it in the end. Because it's a big value vehicle. Does all these services, the packages, count more than in previous years with other Dacia models?
Absolutely. I'm going to tell you, because I'm going to talk about private individuals. I told you, 5 years ago, the rates were very low. Now the rates are quite high, let's be honest. What we're seeing, especially when with Dacia and when there is Rabla promotion, where you have an extra discount, the prices until now are low. So we have a huge amount of customers that have savings and can afford to buy the cars without using finance because they have the price is low. You have the subvention of Rabla, and then they don't need finance. And we see that, and it's quite linear. The higher price the car, the highest finance rate we have, not interest rate. I mean highest performance on finance. If you go to Logan, we have very low, what we say financial penetration, and when we go to Bigster, it's much higher. So it's key because the capacity to buy a car We see that in other countries. Of course, the more expensive the car is, there will be less customers that could buy cash or they have savings to buy the car. And the need for finance will be higher. So for sure we need, and what is my job is to make finance more affordable, because we need to make those customers that will need finance to be able to finance with us with offers that are affordable. This is why I explained you the offers that we are doing for Q1, which is the best offers we've had in the last year. So for sure, when the car price is higher, the need of finance is higher. This is it looks obvious, but it's what we are observing quite easily in our Romanian case. Yeah.
And basically, you make the car more accessible to the public.
Yes, that's the goal. As I said, we are here only for Renault and Dacia to be able for them to sell more cars. This is our main goal. So make the car available through finance and affordable finance.
Sure. Okay. Jose, thank you very much for the interview.
Thank you, Bogdan. Thank you.
Mulțumesc și telespectatorilor noștri. Ați văzut care este oferta de finanțare Mobilize pentru Dacia și Renault. Totuși, aceste pachete contează foarte mult pentru că vin cu beneficii suplimentare. Vă mulțumesc frumos că ne-ați urmărit și vă doresc o zi bună în continuare. La revedere!